I should really be better at anticipating when there's going to be big game announcements to talk about, because, this caught me completely by surprise. So, there's a new Pokemon, Legends Arceus was announced 3 years ago. I'm now getting close to adulthood. Anyway, besides the point. So, they announced Pokemon Legends ZA, it's like Pokemon Legends Arceus, but now it is Kalos! Yeah, I'm getting old enough that they're pandering to my nostalgia now. Okay, that's new. So that's fun. Maybe I don't know how to feel about this, but yeah, like they're pandering hard. Like literally when the trailer is happening and they're revealing the title. Literally, it's like it's like Pokemon, and then the Z comes in and it's just lets it sit there for a moment, looking like Pokemon Z before the ace and the dash very slowly slot in, which for the fucking like kids among you, they used to do third versions of Pokemon games that would be like the optimal version that's like better than either like the first two versions. So there's Pokemon Ruby, Pokemon Sapphire, then Pokemon Emerald, Pokemon Diamond, then Pearl and Platinum. Then for Gen 5, i.e. Black and White, they just made a sequel pair of games, which was pretty cool. Then for Pokemon X and Y, they didn't know what they were gonna do. The fandom was expecting that they'd pull Pokemon Z for some reason. It was Pokemon X, Y, Z. They're building up to it. There was the Pokemon X cover Pokemon looked like an X. The Pokemon Y one looked like a Y. Zygarde looked like a Z. You know, they making all kinds of allusions to the Zygarde cells and like stuff in colors that wasn't fully fleshed out. And then 2015, they just didn't release any Pokemon game. Notably, that's the last year up until now that they didn't do that. Probably for the better if you look at how Scarlet and Violet function. But besides the point, and so all those loose threads with Zygarde and Infinity Energy and all that just kind of got left hanging with no explanation or closure. Like they very awkwardly shoved the Zygarde cells as a mechanic into Gen 7, where it's like, why is Zygarde in Alola? Good question. The answer to that is there isn't a good reason for Zygarde to be there. It's the Kalos third legendary. Ultimate Zygarde was in the Gen 6, not the Gen 7 anime. It should have appeared there, as in the game there, and yet it didn't. So there's a part of me that at the time especially was kind of mad about this. That I just kind of abandoned it since it was my one. It was the one that I grew up on, so to speak, even though it was my childhood. Look, I was exposed. Look, I spent 2016 was the year I got on the internet, and at that point, the Pokemon fandom was full of nostalgia because the Pokemon company was leaning to it hard with Gen 6 and especially Gen 7. You know, Gen 7 was partly based on Hawaii and partly based on Gen 1. It's a thing. So that's all happened, yeah, and they just kind of left it hanging, which is unsatisfying and pissed a lot of people off, and so now they're finally doing a pseudo-Pokemon Z, of course. It won't just be a remake of Kalos, but with new graphics on the Switch. It'll be its whole new thing, and looking at the game for itself, it's like, okay, so it's Lumia City, but in the cyber world. God knows what the gameplay of this is actually gonna look like. Like Pokemon Legends Arceus, they showed them running around open areas in Sinnoh and like doing stuff. You know, I mean, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the initial trailer was just some ominous guys in an office and then a map of what looks like Spain. There was not much elaboration to it. It's been 2 years, I'm still saying it's Spain, not Iberia. Oh well. But anyway, there's not a lot of elaboration to it, and same here. I mean, I had the feeling that computers and holograms and shit are going to be heavily involved in it. If you go back to Gen 6, the signs were holograms, and holograms were a big motif in the game. It was kind of the villain's whole thing. Bear in mind, the villain was a twist villain, Lysander. Holograms were everywhere. There's this holocaster thingy that was used for communication with other characters at various points in the story. It was a whole part of how the game was. So maybe it'll just be some weird hologram Lumio City. Will it be like augmented reality as an augmented reality in game, not augmented reality in real life? How will the gameplay actually work? I mean, the reason I didn't actually play Legends Arceus, disclaimer there, I guess, is basically it's basically a Monster Hunter style thing, and from what I've heard, Monster Hunter is addictive as hell because of the whole gameplay loop of targeting monsters, which yeah, I don't need that in my fucking life, okay? I have things to do. I am in the intense part of high school. I run a fucking YouTube channel. I have better things to do than just hunt Pokemon eternally, you know? so I never actually played that. But it looked cool. It was a Pokemon game that drummed up anything but just pure rage from the fandom. Remember when Pokemon games would do that? But or they do stuff that wasn't that, I guess. But yeah, so it's cool to have this again. I like how they've made this whole habit of doing Pokemon Legends games where they revisit all regions and expand upon them. It really makes the world feel less linear. It feels more, make the Pokemon world feel more fleshed out and less like, oh, here's the new gimmick, time to forget about the old stuff forever. Although, yeah, there's also part of it that's kind of amusing. That's like, they skipped over Gen 5. Like, they did Gen 4, then the next generation they do Gen 6. They just didn't do a Legends Unova, and they didn't do any kind of that. And it's like, okay, to be fair, it might have been that they had more creative stuff they wanted to do with this. It might have been that, Pokemon X and Y came out like 10 years ago. There are people who were already like 9, 10 at the time playing that who are now adults working at the Pokemon company. Maybe they were super insistent about trying to get this made because of their dissatisfaction. You never know. But it's like also like, do they want us to forget about Black and White? Because currently the fandom holds up Gen 5 as being like the pinnacle of what Pokemon was. So, yeah, this is interesting. I don't have much more to say on it. Will it be in some weird cyber world? Will it be in the real world Kalos? Will we get a full map of Kalos, or will we only be able to go around Lumio City? What is this gonna be? I want to see, because I'm actually a little bit hyped, I mean, Skull and Violet had their problems, yeah, but if you go back to my old video on it, God please don't, then I think you'll find that I believe that it was a bit over-criticized, but at this point I'm rambling, so I'm gonna cut the tape. Hey, yeah, I just made that over a couple days. I saw the news and I made a video out of it. Good job, me, even if it's like behind everyone else. Hey, I have school, I have shit going on in my life besides YouTube, okay? Also, next video might be in a week, 2 weeks, I don't know. It's not gonna be out this week like previously planned, because I'm having problems with burnout. Yay!